Union of Professional Nurses and Midwives Ghana. John, good morning. F4.
Good morning, Johnny.
Great. Talk to me. Are you on strike?
All right. Good morning to all nurses and midwives across the country, specifically UKNG members who are holding the fort. Yes, so UKNG is not on strike. Our members are at work and they are working for Ghanaians.
Why are you not on strike?
Okay, so it's simple. You cannot engage in illegality and pretend to be caring or to have the welfare of your members at heart. What do I call illegality? The illegality is that the Ghana Registered Nurse and Midwife Association have clearly contravened the Labour Regulation 10, which requests that labor unions who hold bargaining certificates should consult other unions during negotiation and, if necessary, take them along to the negotiation table. That was clearly contravened. And when the
but you went to court. You went to court on that direction, and then you got 100,000 compensation in a consent judgment. Did you not?
Okay. Yeah, so it was not our union that took them to court. It was another union, the psychiatric.
So you did not benefit anything?
No. In fact, we were not part of the court issue. In fact, we had agreed that, okay, they had done it already, so let it go. But PAPING, or the Professional Association of Psychiatric Nurses, said no, they will not agree, and they went to court. So for them, it's a different issue. So when you look at the judgment, it was between PAPING, which is the Professional Association of Psychiatric Nurses, and the GRNMA.
I see. So the court, through the National Labour Commission, through the court, have said that, look, this strike is illegal. Come back to the drawing table. Let's have a conversation, etc. Do you know if your colleague nurses who are on the other side are striking today, the 9th of June, as the court has said, do not strike? Do you know?
The expectation is that we get these people back to work because the strike has been declared illegal and an injunction has been secured on it. Our men are on the ground. We will receive feedback by in no time to know what exactly is going on in the various facilities. And when we have seen some communique from the leadership of the union that declared the strike, that the strike still continues unabated, which they are clearly engaging in other illegalities as well. Because once you disrespect the court, it becomes an illegality. I don't know how the court wants to handle that. But for me, I am aware that our members are at work, and we expect that once the strike has been declared illegal, these people have to come back to work.
Now, for those nurses who think that your rights have been trampled upon, you have not been taken care of by the state is not treating you fairly, what do you have to say?
What do you call fair treatment? If we ourselves, we are not ready to be treated fairly. Okay, so you have a condition of service in 2020, of which majority of the things have not been implemented because there are no clear roadmaps to the implementation of those things. You brought the same things back to 2024 without having any clear plans as to how these things should be implemented. And then so you meet a government, and a government is willing to engage with you so that we can have a clear roadmap on the implementation, such that going forward, these things become easy to implement. In fact, the last time we met the minister asked us, how do we want these things to be implemented?
Right.
And the question couldn't get an answer because there was no clear roadmap. So the reason why we feel that the strike is unnecessary is that, look, we cannot be doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. In 2020, we went on strike. What did we get? Nothing. The same things were left on the books, never implemented. So why not sit down and get a clear understanding and a roadmap on how to implement these things, so that if going forward we say today we will get 100% of this, it becomes easy to implement. If we say we need 200% of this, it becomes easy to implement going forward. We will go on this strike. The minister can say today that we have called up, we have signed the agreement, let's have it implemented, and the things will remain on the books unimplemented because there is no clear roadmap for these implementations.
Now, for the nurses who also think that, look, at the end of the day, we serve Ghanaians, we're essential service providers, but the country itself does not pay attention to us, and they always blackmail us to say that we take care of people who are not well, and so we should not strike, even though we are being pushed down the hole? What do you say?
Well, so we are very much aware that our condition of service has been poor for a very long time. And this can be associated to the poor negotiation by this union for the past 60 years. And you have seen a number of our nurses and midwives leave the country in dozens. And nothing is being done about it. And so the condition of service for nurses and midwives has been poor for the past 60 years. Okay? And so if we have to do something about it, then it means that we will have to tread cautiously and go slowly to be able to get the things done. Not this tactics, because we have used it a number of times, it has not worked. Okay? And nurses and midwives in this country are suffering. And this tactics is not what will relieve them from the suffering. Let's be strategic and get a clear plan on the implementations. That is what we are saying. The strike, if they call it off today, we will still have the things not implemented because there is no clear roadmap. We are not against the implementation of the condition of service. We have accepted it the way it is, and we are saying that let's get it implemented. And like I said, if you have the things in 2020 that were not implemented because there's no clear roadmap, and you use the approach and nothing happens, how do you use the same thing in 2025? Okay, when the ministry is asking you, how do you want these things to be implemented, and you don't have an answer?
Now, I'm reading from the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, who seems to suggest that in 2015, or if you will, 16, Dr. Kesela Tuforsen, who was Deputy Finance Minister at the time, had an agreement with nurses that was not fulfilled. And based on that, he thinks that Dr. Tuforsen, as Finance Minister, does not respect nurses. Do you also hold that view?
When they go this tangent, then it's a clear political game they are playing. In 2020, like I just intimated to you, there are a number of things on the condition of service that were not implemented. Why are they not talking about that one? Was it because it was Kenoforiya Tada was the Minister of Finance by then? So let's not even go into that area. They should tell us why most of the things on the condition of service in 2020 was not implemented and were quiet. The uniform allowance that they implemented plus the fuel allowance, were they the only things on the condition of service in 2020? What about the medical care that was on the 2020 condition of service? What about the book and research allowance for health tutors like myself that was on the condition of service? What about the funeral allowances that they said they should pay to the people? What about the rural allowance that they said they should pay to the people? All these things were part of the 2020 agreement that were never implemented. Why are they not talking about that? Because they know that they have actually failed Ghanaian nurses and midwives. So they are indulging themselves in these gimmicks to play on the minds of the people. The fact is that Ghanaian nurses and midwives are now very intelligent and discerning. So these tricks will not work on them again. In fact, when they declared this strike, their own members were against the strike because they know that it is a political game they are playing. Why are we comparing this system and not talking about 2020? Johnny, let me tell you that 2022, there was no agreement signed.
Right.
And everybody remained quiet.
Right.
Every condition of service is supposed to expire every 2 years. In 2022, no agreement was signed. We remained quiet. Why are we not talking about that? Why are they not complaining that in 2022 they did not sign any agreement and yet they are quiet about that and they are referencing 2016?
I see. Now, in wrapping up this conversation, what is the way forward?
The way forward is simple. Let's get back to work. Let's come up with a clear implementation plan of our condition of service so that the book and research allowance that they say they will pay, if we have a clear implementation roadmap, if they increase that book and research allowance to 100,000 next month, okay, or in the next negotiation, it becomes easy for the next government to implement. Otherwise, we will keep repeating this thing every other year, and yet it will never be implemented because we have not gotten any clear roadmap. The one who is asking for the thing should be able to tell how they want it to be implemented. For instance, the PIN renewal and the professional license they are talking about, for instance. Teachers have what we call the professional development allowance that they give to them. And they were able to negotiate inside that there will be no discrepancies. What our people are telling us is that the ministry will pay to the Nurse and Midwifery Council the amount of money that the number of nurses that are in the country, and then they renew our pins. That is fraud. Because even the GRNMA who started this pay reserve for their members, not all their members are able to renew their pay because there are things that are supposed to be done. They say they should pay for conditional professional development (CPD). How is that going to be done? We have various BMCs that organize workshops and let nurses go there and get their logbook signed. So some of the things that are in that particular document are vague the way they are. So there's a need for clear implementation roadmap. So I am calling on my colleagues that let's understand the issues and not pretend that we know it best. In fact, our colleagues who are shouting and are all over the place, so they don't even understand what is happening in the condition of service. So I am just telling them that let's understand the issues. UPNG is not saying that nurses should not enjoy condition of service. But if we go this tangent, we will come back to square zero. In fact, Johnny, you will be here. When the minister says that we have implemented it or we have approved for the implementation, nurses will start crying again that they have not gotten anything. Why? Because the things may not be implemented. The only thing left for us to get now is uniform allowance of 1,000 Ghana cedis that they paid 400 cedis the last time. So we are left with an arrears of 600 cedis.
Right.
And then the fuel that they will pay to PNOs and above. The rest of it needs clear implementation plans. Otherwise, we will come back here again and cry to you, Johnny.
Now, somebody came to me and said that, look, the argument is that rotational nurses and all the others who are not on strike, for example, work under the direction and supervision of people who belong to the Nurses and Midwives Association who are on strike, and that they use that to intimidate them to say, if you like, go. And we will see when it's time for us to regularize you, you will feel it. Or if you like, go. We will indicate that you didn't come to work. Has that come to your attention?
Yes. So, you see, I don't know whether the people we are dealing with actually read. The condition of service they signed themselves, Article 6 of that condition of service they signed, indicated clearly that trainee nurses, rotation nurses are not covered under this agreement. What locals do they have to chase them away? So these people are clearly lawless. The condition of service they signed, Article 6 actually mentioned that trainee nurses are not part of this agreement. Rotation nurses are not part of this agreement. So why do we chase them away? In any case, GRNMA does not regularize nurses and midwives in this country. And so they don't have any locals at all to chase away trainee nurses or rotation nurses from working when they are on strike. They don't have any of those locals to do that. And secondly, the nurses that are UPNG members, are they saying that they are not professionals enough? Once there's a professional nurse on the ward, that those trainee nurses can work under them. Are they telling us that UPNG nurses are not intelligent enough to teach their colleagues, young ones who are coming? Are they saying that only GRN members have the right to train nurses and midwives on training? No. So once we have any professional who is on duty, trainee nurses and rotation nurses can work under them. So it is even fraud, and it is even against their own condition of service that they sign. If you have the document, look at Article 6 of that document, which says that this agreement does not cover trainee nurses.
Right.
Now that they cover rotation nurses. And it spells out clearly who those the agreement covers. So what locals do you have to start rotation nurses or trainee nurses from working because you are on strike?
Would you be surprised, my final question to you, if the nurses still hold on to their strike action regarding the directive from the NLC? If they decide to hold on to the strike, would you be surprised?
I will not be surprised because I blame NLC for all these things. These are powerful weapons of the NLC and they use it anyhow. The number of strikes that they have declared as illegal in this country, this one is not about nurse and midwife strike. There are other strikes that they go to court, declare as illegal, secure injunction on it, and then people flout those things and still continue their work. So it has become normal for people to flout some of these four directives because the NLC have actually used this weapon to the extent that it is no more harmful to anybody. Nobody fears this thing anymore. So I'm not be surprised because already, even though the document was in the public domain, they claim that they have not been served. Whether it is true or not, I don't know. And they are still directing their nurses and midwives not to go to work. And so clearly, there's an issue with the NLC as well. They are not enforcing some of these things. And I don't know why they go to court, secure an injunction, people flout it. And it's not about GRNMA strike alone. There are a number of strikes we have witnessed in this country where NLC secured injunction and it was not adhered to, the strike went on. And so they have actually reduced the potency of this weapon that they have. And so I will not be surprised if they do not comply with that directive.
John Agbenyevu, PRO, UPNMG, I'm grateful for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. That's John Agbenyevu. He joined us here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.